Angie, where on earth are you right now? You're supposed to be doing your chores. I know you're off playing your silly little computer games or whatever, and if you have time to play games, then you have time to work around the house. I moved out. What? You're constantly barging into my room while I'm meeting with a client to scream at me about one thing or another, and you've also thrown away documents I need for work 3 times this month. I can't work in an environment like that, so I left. Ah, yes, that's a lovely fantasy, but in reality, you're nothing but an unemployed parasite. Now hurry up and get back here. Your brother will be home from work any minute now. How do you think he'll feel if there's no hot meal waiting for him? You also have laundry to do, and I've been telling you to clean the bath and toilet for 2 days now. I've got an idea. How about you do some of the housework for a change? Ever since Dad died, you've been living off of our incomes, and you haven't even held a job either, so it's not like you're too busy to do it yourself. Excuse me? Not only do I have to deal with moving into my new place, but I'm also super close to a deadline for a big project, so I'm super busy right now. Talk to you later. Hold it right there, young lady.
Hey, Angie, got a minute?
Terry? Wow, it's nice to hear from you. It's been so long.
Listen, I've got something to ask of you. And, well, it's a pretty big ask.
Uh-oh, what is it?
The thing is, the company I've been working for just went bankrupt.
Holy cow, bankrupt?
I just found out today. The CEO called a meeting out of the blue when I got to work. And that's when he broke the news. And all the other employees are freaking out.
Oh man. Wow, I can't imagine how that must feel. All of a sudden the job you thought you could count on just up and vanishes.
Yeah, it's definitely not a great feeling. The CEO did say that he would work around the clock with his contacts to find us all new jobs. But the company he wants to set us up with is an absolute hellscape. A couple of my college buddies worked there. They were shocked with so much overtime. It put them in the hospital. They both quit within a few months.
Yikes, oh, that doesn't sound like a place I'd want to work.
Right? So I talked to my wife about it and decided that I'm gonna go ahead and turn that offer down and find new employment for myself. And since I'm currently living in employee housing owned by a company that's going bankrupt, I'm also gonna have to find a new place to live.
Wow, I'm sorry, Terry.
Since I'm gonna be unemployed for at least a little while, I'd be nervous about signing up for an apartment lease, and with my wife being pregnant and all.
Do you want to come and stay with me in my condo? I've got a spare room that you can use.
It would only be a temporary situation, I promise. As soon as I find work, we'll move out as soon as possible. We won't be a burden, Angie. And we might not be able to pay much, but we'll definitely give you some money toward living expenses. Now, just one big problem remains. Since Mom is currently living with us in my company's apartment, she's probably gonna come along with us.
Yeah, I figured as much.
And that's exactly why I feel so reluctant to do this to you. I know you left the house specifically to get away from her terrible treatment of you, and now I'm gonna be throwing you right back into that environment.
I understand, but you have more important things to worry about. Your wife's gonna give birth soon, right? I know you said her parents live way on the other side of the state, so you can't live with them, and it would be difficult for her to change to a completely different doctor at this point. So for you guys, considering the entirety of your situation, there really isn't any other option but to move in with me. Does that about cover it?
Yeah, you said exactly what I was just about to. I really hate to ask you to do this, Angie.
Okay, well, I totally understand your circumstances. But I think you should know that I've had a change in my own circumstances lately. And, well, I guess if you're okay with dealing with that, then I think it shouldn't be a problem for you guys to live with me on a temporary basis.
Circumstances? What's up?
It's kind of a long story, too long for texting. Could we meet up and talk things over?
Sure, no problem. How about tomorrow afternoon? Are you free?
Yeah, tomorrow afternoon works fine for me. Angie! How many times do I have to tell you before it gets through that thick skull of yours? You need to do more housework. Sure, your brother might have a wife of his own, but she just gave birth. She needs to take care of the baby. You've got the most free time on your hands, so put those hands to work. I am doing housework. Oh, you are you? Exactly what have you done this week, Go on, do tell. I've been taking turns with Terry rocking the baby back to sleep when he wakes up at night in order to let Samantha get as much sleep as possible. I also do the laundry, go shopping, wash dishes, vacuum the carpet, cook meals, clean the bath, clean the toilet, sweep the hardwood flooring, take care of paying the utility bills, and probably a few more things I've forgotten. I've never seen you doing any of that. Well, that doesn't surprise me, since you're usually too focused on whatever TV show you're watching to notice anything else going on in the house. Oh, now you're blaming me for the fact that you are a lousy homemaker? No, just saying that if you would turn off the TV every now and then, maybe you might make yourself useful one of these days. You really are an ungrateful little wretch, Angie. Even though you're being generously allowed to live in this beautiful condo, you think you can talk to me like that? Huh? I'm being allowed to live here? Yes, obviously. Out of the kindness of his heart, that Saint Terry has deigned to allow you to move in with us. Honestly, you don't deserve to benefit even in the slightest from Terry's hard work. He's such a hard worker, he was able to buy this condo the instant we had to leave his old place. I'd be more understanding if you actually had a job, but you're still just playing on your computer all day. I am working. I'm doing the exact same job I was working 3 years ago. You just didn't listen to me. I mean, seriously, Mom, where have you been the last 4 years? Everyone knows what remote work is. You might be the last person alive who doesn't understand that some people can work from home. Don't patronize me, you little brat. Of course I know what remote work is. I just recognize the reality that someone with no work experience like yourself would never be allowed to work from home. Someone as useless as you has to be closely observed, or else you'll just start slacking off. I see. I guess you're just committed to this vision you have where I'm a useless nobody, Mom. I'm committed to encouraging you to make something of yourself. I don't want you to be a useless nobody forever. The only one who thinks I'm a useless nobody is you. And for the record, I'm the one who got this condo. I started renting it 3 years ago when I first moved out of the house. And also for the record, Terry is still looking for work after his last company went bankrupt. How did you get so deluded? Deluded? Me? I mean, I know for a fact that he's told you all of this multiple times. That boy is truly a saint, telling lie after lie to his own mother to protect his good-for-nothing little sister. An upstanding man like him who can buy an amazing condo like this downtown deserves to be able to boast about his success. But instead, he's humiliating himself to protect the likes of you. Such a tragedy. I've had more of this than I can take. I'm going to get back to work. Oh, there you go again, pretending you have work to do to get out of talking to me and doing your chores. Where did I go wrong in raising you? I feel like an utter failure. I think I might have to finally resort to more drastic measures.
Oh no, Angie, this is really bad. Mom just had all your stuff hauled away to the dump. Your furniture, clothes, files, cabinets, everything. It's all gone.
What?
She must have thought that today was our only chance, since both of you and I will be out of the house. Seriously, Angie, I'm so sorry, but your room is totally empty.
Huh. Okay. That's fine. I mean, this was such perfect timing for her to do that. It's actually pretty funny.
What?
All of my stuff is actually safe and sound, exactly where I put it.
Oh, right. I totally forgot about that.
Yep, I already put everything I was going to take with me in my rental locker. The only stuff I had left in my room was stuff I was gonna be throwing away or donating to charity anyway. But, wow, I expected Mom to do something like this eventually, but this is honestly a bit earlier than I predicted.
Yeah, looks like we've come to the end of the line.
You guys should make your move as soon as possible, too. You've seen how Mom has been since you guys moved in. She's gotten even lazier and more entitled than she ever was before. Once I'm out of the picture, I'd say it's only a matter of time before she sets her sights on Samantha. You get that too, right? I can't imagine it's going to be easy to raise your kid in a peaceful, loving environment with her around.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Just remember, if you guys are having any trouble at all financially, you let me know and I'll do whatever I can. I wouldn't have any problems with you guys coming back to live with me over there, if it would help you get back on your feet.
I really appreciate it, Angie. I'll talk to Samantha tonight and see what she thinks.
Hello there, Angie. I thought you ought to know that I've had all your things taken to the dump. Want them back? Go and get them. And don't think you'll be allowed back into this condo ever again. You can live where an unemployed leech like you deserves, on the street. Now I'll be able to have a peaceful, happy life with my grandchild. Without you freeloading, things should get easier financially for your brother. And since the baby's getting older, Samantha can start doing all the housework that you refused to do. Oh, I'll never get tired of the view from this floor. This is the lifestyle I've always deserved, and it's finally mine. Hey there, Mom. I was meaning to thank you for taking care of throwing away all that junk for me. What? And just so you know, I terminated the lease on that condo. You what? Now, I'm actually quite busy at the moment, so if you'll excuse me. You terminated the lease? I don't understand. Angie! What sort of evil, twisted lies did you tell Terry and Samantha? Not sure what you're talking about, Mom. What's going on with Terry and his family? What's going on? They're gone! And it's all thanks to you and your silly threat to terminate the lease. Threat? They knew from the very beginning that I was going to be terminating the lease. The intent was always for this to be a temporary living situation for them. Wait, temporary? Again, I know for a fact that Terry told you all about this. You're just being delusional. I'm not the delusional one. You are. This whole time you've been talking as if the condo your brother worked so hard to purchase for me was yours all along, as if you could afford such a thing. And then you went so far as to call your brother unemployed. How disgraceful can you be? Okay, so for the millionth time now, the reason Terry told you that wasn't because he was protecting me. That's all just 100% factually true information. Again with your lies. The company Terry was working for suddenly went bankrupt. Being newly unemployed, it would be pretty difficult for them to rent an apartment. Plus, Samantha was in the final month of her pregnancy and the baby was set to be born any moment. So it would be a huge burden on her to move far away and get set up with a new doctor in time. And so, considering their circumstances, the possibility that made the most sense was for them to move in with me temporarily. That's why he asked me, and I agreed to let the three of you move into my condo. But I thought he moved out of the employee housing because he bought this new condo. He's not insane, Mom. No one would do something as stupid as buy a new condo exactly when their company went bankrupt. But, that doesn't make any sense. If he didn't buy or rent that condo, how was he living there? Are you starting to develop dementia, or are you just not listening to me? I rented it. How could you? You're unemployed. I'm a YouTuber. A what? What on earth is that? It doesn't surprise me that you don't know. Your generation wouldn't be very familiar with it. But I'm still taking in about 30 grand a month. 30,000? But then you're telling me that Terry's company really went bankrupt? It was a pretty big shock to the local economy. I bet if you did a quick internet search, you'd find all sorts of news articles about it. Oh no. You were telling the truth? Let's get this conversation back on track now, okay? Now, the timing of Terry moving in with me was somewhat unfortunate. I've been planning to move downtown for a while, since while living in the suburbs is nice for families, it's pretty inconvenient for my work. As such, I would be terminating the lease for my old condo around the same time. I told Terry that he could live with me up until I was going to move out, so roughly 4 or 5 months, and after that he would have to find some more permanent arrangement for himself. Wait a moment, 4 or 5 months? But I've been living here for 5 months, so... You guessed it, the big day has finally come and I'm moving out. Terry and I have been getting ready for this move for the last several months. What about you, Mom? Have you figured out where you're going to live from now on? Oh boy, you haven't done any planning at all? Well, I'll just keep on living with Terry and his family. Are you serious? Terry knows all about how terribly you were treating Samantha back when you were living in the company apartment. He told you all the way back then that he wanted you to move out, right? He wasn't thinking clearly, you see. Fortunately for you, though, it was around that same time when his company went under, which meant he had much more important things on his mind than dealing with your nonsense. But don't tell me you didn't notice. Think about it. During the last few months while we've been living together in my condo, have we ever left you alone with Samantha, even once? Didn't you think that was a little bit strange? Now that you mention it. Yeah, well, that was all intentional. Now, the next order of business, where are you going to live now? You can live wherever you want. You can go back to your hometown, rent an apartment by yourself, join a convent. The choice is yours. Wait a moment. Oh, this is all far too sudden. We've been telling you for months. You just haven't been listening. So no, I'm not going to let you sit there and be all like, oh no, poor me. I had no idea this was coming. But I really am unprepared for this. Now that I think about it, Terry did mention talking to Aunt Virginia about what we were going to do with you. Aunt Virginia? You talked to my sister? Yep. What were you thinking? You know how that woman is. She was an MMA fighter for years. Her solutions to problems always involve her fists. If I have one piece of advice to give you, it's this. I strongly suggest you do the housework on your own from now on. Oh no. Now, I've got a very big collab project coming up, so if you'll excuse me, I've got a ton of preparation to do. Wait, Angie! Bye, Mom! On the day they moved out of the condo, my brother showed up to the house with the moving company and my Aunt Virginia in tow. Mom started crying and screaming like, I don't want to move. I want to live here. I want to live with my grandchild. I don't want to do any chores. But Aunt Virginia's specialty full Nelson put a stop to that. She dragged her into her car and drove off to her house way out in the forest outside the city. As for my brother, my media network happened to be looking for someone with solid business experience, and when they looked at Terry's resume, they offered him the job right there on the spot. So Terry and his family moved downtown with me. Well, not really with me, but they did get an apartment in the same area of town, so we can spend all the time together that we'd like. When Mom heard that we were all living happily and peacefully in the city, she tried to make her big escape from Aunt Virginia's house. But she didn't even get 3 steps out of the front door when Aunt Virginia put her in a textbook figure 4 lock. And when she tapped out, she dragged her right back inside. And she remains there to this day, undergoing the very, very strict rehabilitation program run by my dear Aunt Virginia.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.
Hey, Sorrow, I heard that you quit your job at the company and are now proudly unemployed.
Huh? What is it, Aunt? Hold on. Who said I was unemployed? I got permission from Mom and I work part-time to help out the 2 of us at home. Also, I don't use that much money myself anyway, so I'm pretty sure I'm not being a burden.
Calm down, Sorrow. I was just joking. You want to become a comic book writer in the future, which is why you quit your full-time job, right?
Yeah, what's so bad about it? You make fun of me wanting to be a comic book writer, but I even have an editor, you know.
Yeah, I'm not making fun of you, Sorrow. I'm just kidding. I, for one, support you chasing your dreams.
Are you sure about that?
You're so serious, Sorrow, and I know exactly what you need to fix that. I'll introduce you to a cool part-time job that you could use in your stories or something.
I have a bad feeling about this. What do you mean a cool part-time job? You're not going to make me do anything illegal, are you?
Don't worry, this is completely legal. You know that I work in the Human Resources Department at my company, right?
Oh yeah, it's a pretty big company as well, right?
Yeah, you see, there's going to be a huge recruitment at my company's subsidiary company next month. I want you to apply.
Huh? But I have no intention of becoming a full-time employee at a company, you know.
I'm not telling you to join e-corporations, I'm telling you to go undercover. I want you to go to that interview as a spy so you can inspect the hiring process.
Inspect the hiring process? Why?
You see, I've received 2 reports from e-corporations telling me that there was something suspicious about the hiring process. There's something suspicious going on with the interviewers, you see. I mean, you just quit your job recently, right? It's going to be really believable if someone like that goes undercover, don't you think? This is perfect timing for you to do this job.
Yeah, but I wonder if I'll be able to do it.
I mean, it's an interesting side job, right? Like I said, you could use it in your comics or something. Besides, you won't need to do anything fancy. Just apply for a job and tell me what goes on in their hiring process. Oh, just make sure that they don't find out you're an inspector, I guess.
Well, I guess that doesn't sound that difficult, and it does sound like an interesting job, to be honest.
Why don't you first listen to the job explanation before making a decision?
I don't know. It sounds like a lot of unnecessary hassle.
If you accept, you're going to make a lot of money easily, you know. I know it's a bit of a strange part-time job, but you really won't have to do that much.
All right, I'll listen to the explanation first. Hello, Mr. Paolo. This is Ivan, the person in charge of the recruitment interviews at e-corporations. Good morning. Thank you for letting me know I passed the document screening yesterday. Yes, no problem. We're going to be contacting you and the others who passed the document screening mainly by text from now on. Is that all right for you? Yes, I understand. I look forward to working with you. Anyways, I heard that yours was a single-parent household and that we were raised by your mother growing up. Is this true? Yes, my father passed away when I was in middle school and I've been living with my mother ever since. Things were a bit rough after Dad passed away, but somehow my mom managed to pay for my tuition all the way until I graduated college. I see. All right, I understand.
Hi, Saro. The first selection round just finished, right? Thanks for your work.
Hello, Aunt Monica.
So, how was the interview process?
Right now it just feels like a regular selection process, but...
Is the interviewer pressuring you or something?
No, he just asked the usual questions. It was all just very standard and professional.
Is there anything in particular that caught your attention?
Let me think.
It's all right if you feel like it's nothing. Just give me anything that comes to your mind.
Oh yeah, I remember he seemed a bit too interested in my environment growing up as a child.
Your environment growing up as a child? What exactly do you mean by that?
One of the interviewers is a guy named Ivan, right? Do you know him?
Yes, he works at the Human Resources Department at e-corporations.
He asked me whether I was raised only by my mother by text, and in the actual interview, he asked me again in between 2 more standard questions. Well, it's true that I do live with my mother, just the 2 of us, but I don't really understand why he had asked me the same thing over and over. He's probably just concerned whether I would have taken care of her on my own if anything happened to her. Is what I thought during the interview, at least.
Interesting. This might have something to do with the reports I was already given. Did he ask this to the other applicants?
Oh, yeah. He asked similar questions like, do you live on your own? Or, are your parents currently healthy? That's why I thought he was only asking me all those questions to find out whether I would suddenly have to take leave just because of a family emergency or something.
I see. So he's more clever than I thought. Just to be clear, Ivan was the one who asked all of these questions.
Yep. All the other interviewers just asked standard interview questions, and Ivan would ask these other questions on top of that. What do you mean by Ivan's more clever than I thought, though? Do you suspect him of plotting something?
Yes, although we don't have any actual proof yet. He's made sure to cover his tracks and make it seem like he's been asking completely reasonable questions during the interview. I suspect that he only asked the other applicants stuff like, do you live on your own, or are your parents currently healthy, to mask his questions about you being raised by your mother. You need to keep going. He's going to slip up at one point or another.
So does that mean I should just contact me and tell me what to do before then, all right?
Got it. I will. Hi, Sorrow. Congratulations on completing the final interview.
Oh, hi, Aunt. Yeah, thanks. You say that like I'm actually applying for a job here.
Yeah, that was the joke. I'll get straight to the point, though. How was it?
Yep, that Ivan guy is suspicious. Just like you told me, he said something that made me think that he was very concerned that I was raised by a single mother. It was something like, "Are you sure you want to join our company? Because it may be a bit difficult for you to take a leave if your mother falls ill or something." I don't know why he had to tell me specifically that, though. I mean, don't all, well, I guess most of, the other employees have parents as well? I'll just give you the details later via an IC audio recording.
Okay, was there anything else?
Well, to be honest, I myself wondered if I was just imagining things or not, but do you want to hear it?
Of course, tell me. I hired you to tell me everything you noticed during the hiring process, remember?
It's about Ivan again. But there was an opportunity for all the people who passed the preliminary interview and all the interviews to gather and talk to each other. There was this one woman. Whenever Ivan would ask her a question, she would answer with the normal response. But I got the feeling that she was anxious the whole time. I mean, all the other applicants were anxious as well, but she seemed to be on the verge of panicking or something. It looked like she was avoiding his eyes when she was talking to him as well.
I'm guessing you don't happen to know why she was acting like that?
This is all just my personal opinion, and depending on how you look at it or how I tell it to you, it could come across as being very offensive. And I don't even know if it's related, but...
Just tell it to me, Sorrow. Do you remember her name?
I think her name was Anna. Why? Do you think Ivan is targeting beautiful women or something?
Yes. Well, women he finds attractive, to be more precise.
Just to be clear, I have no idea if this has anything to do with the hiring process, all right?
Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter how small you think it is, just tell it to me, because who knows if it could be important. There's always a chance that this whole situation will get solved by an unlikely clue. And just between you and me, I'm pretty sure that this is related to our case. You see, the 2 tips I got from insiders in E-Corporation were also women that could be considered beautiful.
I get it. Well, I guess we really do have to investigate every clue no matter how unlikely, since we don't even have any proof yet.
No need to be impatient, Sorrow. There's also a high possibility that something will happen before they tell you you're hired, so don't let your guard down until I say it's over, okay?
What? Could it be that I'm going to be accepted?
Well, yes.
Wow, so, does this mean that...
Don't worry. We made it so that you being there wouldn't affect the final results, so you didn't make anyone fail the interview or anything if that's what you're worried about.
Oh, I see. It's fine if that's the case, though.
All right. We've just got a little more to go, so keep working hard. I feel like we're just about to catch him.
All right, got it. Hello, Mr. Paolo. This is Ivan from E-Corporations. Can you talk right now? Oh, hello. Thanks for your work with the interviews. Is there something you wanted to tell me? Well, you see, I told you that you were hired yesterday, right? Yes, thank you for choosing me to join the company. Yes, about that. I'm sorry, but I changed my mind and we're not going to be hiring you after all. Why exactly is that? Don't take this the wrong way. I am truly sorry I have to do this, but it's a rule of our company that we can't hire people who were raised by a single mother, which is why I'm going to have to revoke your job offer. What? You're not going to hire me because I was raised by a single mother? Yes, I had already confirmed that you were raised by a single mother growing up, but due to some mistakes by the other interviewers, you were accidentally given a pass. I was so close. We were almost fooled because he looked like a regular person on the outside, but in reality, he was raised by a single mother and thus is trash. Is what the other interviewer said. You see, he even went as far as ripping apart your resume. I'm sorry, but this just means that we just don't need someone like you in our company. I see. I hope you have better luck finding a job in the future. Well, goodbye. I'm sorry we raised your hopes only to tell you the truth. It's true that I was raised by a single mother, but... Don't you think it's a bit strange not accepting someone just because of that? That's called a prejudice, you know. Thinking that someone didn't have a good upbringing just because they were raised by a single parent. Are you sure it's all right for someone in your position in charge of the company's human resources? Mr. Paolo, why you... This is what I'm talking about. We're not a charity, you know. You're just a piece of trash whose place is to get judged by others, not judge them yourself. You can't just tell me your opinions like you matter, you know. All right. Then I have a question for you then. Does it mean that it is a requirement for e-corporations that any potential applicant must have been raised by both parents? You mentioned that it was a rule of the company, right? Well, put it simply, yes. I understand. But that's crazy, don't you think? I've never heard of a company that had a rule not allowing people raised by single parents until now. What's crazy about it? It's actually a very common practice, Mr. Paolo. In this day and age, people talk of diversity and equality, and companies have to pretend they support it or else they'll lose customers. But in reality, they couldn't care less and would rather not have to work with such people if possible. Wow, such people, huh? But the woman named Anna I was interviewed with said she was raised by a single mother herself as well. Yet I heard that she just got the job offer. I also heard that the other women who were in a different group as me and who were also raised by single mothers got job offers as well. What? Even if we look at the two past recruitments, this imbalance was pointed out to have been too extreme to be an accident. Would you like to explain what the meaning of this is? How do you know all those details? I don't know. Why don't you make a guess? What? Oh, I get it. I see what you're trying to tell me now. All right, fine. Let's make a deal. A deal? You can pretend I never contacted you about your job offer being canceled. And I'll even make sure you get an above-average salary once you join the company. In return, I want you to pretend like you don't know anything about me using Anna's weaknesses to make her do as I say. You know what? I'll even make it better for you. If you keep quiet, I'll let you in on my plan and we can use Anna for our pleasure together. I see. Thank you for the proof that you were doing something illegitimate. Huh? Hold on, Mr. Paolo. I can assure you that making a deal with me here is going to benefit you much more than if you hand this information over to whoever you're working for. Please, think about this more carefully. Yeah, no thanks. I'm just doing this as a part-time job, you know? I never actually intended on joining this company, or any other company for that matter. Anyways, I especially appreciate that you told me all of this by text, where it won't disappear. What? Shit. Well, I had to try, you know? Congratulations, you caught me. But could you please tell me one thing before you leave? How did you know? Was it a trap? Well, it's not really that it's a trap. You were already being suspicious of being an unfair interviewer. What? But I made sure that I didn't leave any evidence. Who the hell are you even? You see, I received a request from your parent company to investigate this company's hiring process. I was an undercover inspector. What? You were an inspector from the parent company all this time? But I didn't receive any information about this. I don't see how you could have, because currently only 2 people know what I'm doing here. Well, I guess 3 now that you know as well. You see, before the final interview, I noticed that Anna was acting a bit strange. And so I told the person who hired me to this job about it. They did a bit of investigation themselves, and I got the chance to ask Anna about it herself, which is how we found out about your perverted practices. What did you say? What part of what I'm doing is perverted? All I'm doing is preventing people like you from joining our company. If anything, I should be given a raise for my efforts. First of all, you look down on people who were raised by a single parent, automatically considering them as being in poverty and of being no use to the company. Ivan, based on this ideology of yours, you failed every man like me that was raised by a single parent without exception. Women that were raised by a single mother, on the other hand, you hinted to the ones you found attractive and easy to manipulate that they might be hired, and everyone else you still failed. The ones you did let into this company, however, you used to satisfy your own pleasures, using their weaknesses to make them do whatever you say. You know even that? Your mistake was that you got too greedy after succeeding twice already and attempting to do it a 3rd time. It looks like you were quite the devil in disguise, Ivan. How do you feel now? By the way, the person from the parent company who hired me has been sitting next to me and reading these texts the whole time.
What?
Please understand that there's no use trying to make excuses anymore.
This can't be happening. To think that I was caught. Is this the end of everything for me? Is my life going to end now?
Well, goodbye then.
Damn it.
After that, a bit more investigation was done on the case. It seems that Ivan wasn't the only interviewer that was using their position as an interviewer to get what they wanted. It was such a scandal that it was decided that everyone in the upper ranks of E-corporations would be fired and replaced. With Ivan, on the other hand, it seems that him abusing his power as an interviewer wasn't the only rule he broke. It was found out that he was also guilty of countless other offenses, and in the end, he ended up having to pay multiple alimonies and damage compensations to multiple people in multiple areas. But in the end, it was decided that he had malicious intent when he did all these things. So he was ultimately just fired as well. Since he couldn't rely on a severance package, he was forced to make money in any way that he could think of. And it seems he became extremely busy day in and day out. He still had to take a huge loan, and now he has to work all day while being in extreme poverty. It seems that every day is extremely painful for him.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.